Welcome to the Delvi Exchange program forum. Today, our topic is access to mining rights is pivotal for artisanal and small-scale miners to flourish. We're going to have two speakers who are in the room. Patrick is on, and Noela. But before I hand over to our speakers, there are a few. Linda, can you just put up the slide, please? The knowledge exchange, Delvi Exchange, is in partner with the University of Queensland, Australia, with AWIMA, Africa Women in Mining Association, OECD, UNDP, EGPS. Those are our partners. And the Delvi Exchange, this is building a network where the knowledge of ASM and quarry workers matters. So our platform is the English Africa, English speaking knowledge exchange. Okay, this program is going to be recorded. It's going to be recorded, like I asked for your permission for the recording. So everything we're going to speak here is going to be recorded. We've got coordinators, myself from Africa, the English speaking. We've got Manuela, we've got Eureka, we've got Ganchimek, we've got Aida Tembura. These are the knowledge exchange coordinators from the different parts, Africa, France, different parts of Africa. Next slide. The Delvi Exchange has three parts, made up of 3 parts. The Delvi Exchange groups, the Delvi Exchange forums, and the Delvi Exchange training. So these are the 3 different parts. We've got the Delvi Exchange WhatsApp groups. I'm sure most of us have joined the WhatsApp groups. There are 2 types of Delvi Exchange groups, one open and one curated. The number 1, the Delvi Exchange open, that is led by the knowledge exchange coordinator and open to all. That's the one I lead in Africa Anglophone. The second one, Delvi Exchange News Regional. It's also curated by and led by the knowledge exchange coordinator as well. Then the third one, the Delvi Exchange News, the global. It's curated and led by the University of Queensland team. The Delvi Exchange forums will provide an opportunity for regular virtual face-to-face knowledge sharing using video communication platforms. A total of 10 forums will be facilitated for each region, a total of 60 regional forums. That's the Delvi Exchange Forum, that's the one we are on right now. And we've got the stories, the challenge. Practice stories where members report on their own experience and practice. Second, experience stories where members report on what they've learned from the experience of others. Third, challenge competition. The objective of the challenge competition is to reward miners and mining communities for asking for help. The challenge will be framed around the question: what is one problem your mining communities need help with? That's a question to be framed around.
I'll stop sharing now. Will I stop sharing now?
Yeah,
Bessie?
okay.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
All right, I'll go into detail with the challenges. Thank you, Linda. So we are going to start with Noela. your presentation, Noela. We'll give you about 15 minutes, Linda. Is it okay? 15, 20 minutes, 15? Noela?
No more than 15, Noela.
Okay. Yeah. Noela?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. 15 minutes for your presentation.
I'll say good afternoon on our side. I don't know about yours. Okay. So, as I was able to visit on the topic, the access to mineral rights is pivotal to ASM, artisanal and small scale miners. We've seen that. We thank God on the side of East Africa, there's a big growth in the terms of artisanal and small scale miners. Before that, they were really acknowledged, but for instance, in Tanzania, there have been changes on the government, and they have put their concentration and ensuring that they are promoting them in one or the other to have the mineral rights and the execution of the laws on which defend the mineral rights of the artisanal and small scale miners. And we have seen that most of the artisanal small scale miners were facing the challenge of lack of knowledge of what is their rights, what are they supposed to do, or where are they supposed to get them. So we have seen that government has tried hard on giving the knowledge to these artisanal and small scale miners, and if they are supported. And we've seen that a lot of them, artisanal and small scale miners, have put into work whatever knowledge. Hello? Hello?
Hear you, Noela. You can go ahead. We can hear you clearly. Noela, you have muted.
Sorry. We have seen that after that, on the year 2019 and year 2020, we have seen that artisanal small scale miners have contributed 29% of the income of the revenue, Tanzanian revenue in terms of mining sector, which is a very big step. But that happened after these people have been given knowledge and education on their rights, on the mineral rights and their mining rights. And after this program, most of the artisanal miners and the artisanal small scale miners, they were able to put into practice by acquiring mining rights. Most of them had lands, but they didn't know what to do. But after that program, they were able to put into practice and acquiring mining rights and contributing to the government's revenue. Another challenge that we face that hinders mostly to this artisanal small scale miners, especially women, since I'm coming from a women miners organization or association, and we see that most of women face the challenge of not to be heard or to be what can I say, discriminated based on different cultures in our society. But we have seen that by the support of different organizations, one of them is Delve Exchange and AWIMA, and also FADEV, PACT. They have been helped. It's a small percent, like I can say 5% of women have woken up, and they've been able to develop or to be promoted by knowing their mineral rights and putting it into practice and starting mineral businesses. Like, for instance, I'll talk about the gemstones business. Most of them have been engaging themselves in extracting gemstones and adding value into them. So it has been helpful to them, and they've been able to contribute in the government revenue. Those are the 2 points I wanted to speak today. Thank you. Hello?
Noela, thank you very much, yes. Noela, for the presentation. Is it difficult to apply for mining rights in Tanzania?
No, it's not difficult. But most of the artisanal miners, they face the challenge of capital. They don't have the money
or the means, most of them, because most are coming from the interior regions and they have been there for most of their lives. So money has been a problem to them. But in the meantime, when most of the organization have woken up, and for instance, the financial organization have been able to support them in one or the other, for instance, by giving them loans, they've been able to acquire this mining licenses. But it's not hard for Tanzania. It's just the money. It has been hard for them. Capital, say.
Okay. Is the land open to be pegged? Are there any exploration orders that close up land for people to be able to peg, or the land is open for all artisanal and small-scale miners?
The land is open for artisanal and small-scale miners, but I'll say that, and the government is trying its level best to do as much exploration as possible each day to introduce new deposits for these artisanal small-scale miners to extract their minerals. So the land is open, but I'll say that the hardship comes because of knowledge on where they should mine, when they don't have the money to acquire to get the information from the government, because you know that the exploration information needs to be bought, so they don't have the money. But so they conduct the mining activity with a lot of uncertainties, but the government is giving them full support by providing them land whichever is not occupied by the investors.
Okay. And during COVID, have you been affected in any way in registering of title or in the titles coming out?
I'll say that the challenge was very minor in Tanzania because of the way things were handled, but it was hard to register because the market had shifted. So these people had faced a market shakeup. So there was no, clear entrance for them to register more, because they had, even the ones who are registered were getting very hardship in market-wise, were facing challenges in market-wise. So they were discouraged, I'll say that. Yeah.
All right, I can see many questions for you there, but maybe let's go on, then we'll go back to the questions. Maybe let's go to Patrick's presentation, our next presentation, then we'll move on to the questions and answers. So thank you very much, Noela. Thank you for the lovely presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Noela. It's really wonderful. Blessing, sorry to jump in. Patrick and Noela, if you could just introduce yourselves and say where you're from, gives us a bit of context. I certainly don't know, but so Noela, I guess you're from Tanzania, is that correct?
Yes, I'm from Tanzania.
Okay.
I'm a mining engineer in Tanzania, and I represent Tanzania Women Miners Association, which deals mostly with advocating and promoting women, artisanal and small-scale miners in the terms of females or women. And in this, our purpose or our goal is to ensure that the mining sector or mining business can improve their livelihood and their income in general.
Fantastic. That's great news.
Thank you, Linda. Patrick, can you introduce yourself and go on with your presentation?
Thank you once again.
It's clear.
My name is Patrick Odiegwu, MD, Polygon Investment Nigeria Limited, a licensed mining company based in Benue State, North Central Nigeria. Our company mines barite, lead, and zinc, and it's a licensed operation. All right. Like I said, our company acquired small-scale mining license as of 2010. And the process of acquisition of the small-scale mining license was to make an application to the Ministry of Mines and Energy. You may recall that of 2007, Nigeria came out with the Mineral Mining Act that actually makes the organization and the government regulation of how mining need to be structured in Nigeria very clear. And as well as of 2011, the regulation came out. So in essence, when it comes to regulatory requirement in terms of mineral title licensing in Nigeria, it has been quite stable since 2007, right? And when we obtained our license, we went straight and start exploration activity. And you know, in case of Nigeria, it's really very difficult to access funds. So most companies crash both exploration and mining. You're carrying out exploration, but you're equally opening up because you need to assess some return of investment from the operation. And in Nigerian situation, it's in our own case, the product that we mine is actually used in the mainstay of Nigerian economy, which is barite. I don't know if you are familiar with the material barite. It's used in oil and gas drilling. Hello, I'm audible?
Yes, come on. Yes.
Okay. So barite is used in more like oil and gas drilling. It's one of the additives in the drilling mud. So this product, despite the fact that Nigeria is actually one of the biggest oil producers in Nigeria, and also we have the barite that meet the quality that is required in oil and gas, the system continue to import this product. So that makes it extremely difficult for most of the licensed mining company to actually have a footstay in accessing funds, because you can't be able to show clearly that there's viability in terms of market position. So it has been a wondrous journey to try to get the system to actually use locally produced material. So our company has been trying to do as much as we can in getting government to participate in going between us and the oil and gas to start using instead of importation of barite that can easily be sourced from Nigeria, right? And the strength of our operation has gone to the extent that we've been able to convert our small-scale mining license to mining lease. But one of the most disappointing aspects is that Nigerian banks are not really participating in lending funds to mining companies. You can, if you have not been able to source funds to develop exploration, it makes it almost impossible for you to access funds for exploitation. So they want to have a bankable report, international standard reporting. But those international standard reporting are extremely expensive. In most cases, it will cost you over $1 million or up more to be able to carry out JOC standard report. And that is what they want to see to be able to participate in the lending of funds to mining companies. So definitely there has to be a system that will come in with a proof of concept. There was some, a while ago, World Bank came up with a program titled Mean Diver, which has been programmed to help some mining companies to build capacity, but it hasn't really delivered the type of results that you need to see. Given the extent of mineralization in Nigeria, that has been quite extensive. Women in mining has been in the forefront of trying to make mining possible for everybody, including men and women, to participate. And that has been a challenge because the structure of Nigerian economy doesn't really allow people to come in and access funds. And if you can access funds, then ordinarily women are in a weaker position in having inheritance money that will enable them to have access or have funds to acquire most of these assets. So if I can say that the access to mineral rights in Nigeria are not restricted, but somehow it is restricted, because if you don't have money, if you don't have access to funds, I don't see how you are going to generate the money necessary to have the right assets. And the biggest asset that you need to have is for it to be licensed, because without the license, you can have a local ASM registration, but that exposes you, because any work that you're doing, somebody can go ahead of you and places and go to the cadastre, mining cadastre, and secure license cover over that area. And they will subject you to inhuman treatment, because definitely every work that is done will be not viewed. You more or less will be classified as an illegal mining, despite the fact that you have been there and you were there before the people that went to secure the license. So giving access to local community to come into the mining circle, then there has to be extension services that will enable them to get organized, which I must give commendation to Ministry of Mines and Steel Development at this time that has been organizing the ASM, artisanal and small scale miners, into cooperative. And that singular action has been helping them to actually have some level of documentation, because without that documentation, you're actually very, very exposed. So far, that's what our company have been trying to do, to secure operationalization, because we have carried out some exploration. If I've been able to share my screen, you will have seen the amount of work we've been able to secure. But all through, we are yet to get the right funding mechanism that will enable a company of our nature to retain rights to our site without inviting, so to speak, most of the buyers that are roaming around in villages, taking advantage of people. But if you want to have a more structured mining, then local capacity has to be given a lot of financial support to be able to go through the value chain. Thank you very much.
Patrick, have you finished?
Yes, I think at this stage, yes.
If I can be able to stop sharing if you can't do it, so we can come back to the screen. Yeah. Okay. Can I just say something? It's sorry, Blessing, it's your thing, but you know, Patrick and Noela, these are very, very good presentations. It seems to me, Patrick, that what would be very useful, and Noela as well, if you could do when your reception is good, could you do us a Zoom recording?
Okay.
You know, because I think we should do this for all our meetings in Africa, because often just when you need it, everything doesn't work. And there was obviously, I think we'd all agree that was extremely interesting, and we're dying to know more. So either you put your PowerPoint slides into the chat, you do that, but at another point, if you'd be willing to film a short film, that would be really fantastic. It's quite easy to do if the reception is good. And then you can just send that to us. Blessing, I'll be quiet now.
Okay, thank you very much, Patrick. No, my network was also playing up, Linda. Thank you. All right. All right. Thank you very much, Patrick, for your presentation. Unfortunately, I missed quite a lot because my network was playing up a bit. But anyway, we'll go on to the question and answer. Can I share my small presentation before we move on? Okay. All right. Can you see the screen? Have I shared?
Yep, there you go. Yes, it's good.
All right. Contribution guidelines. This is the story. Let the world hear your story. Please follow these guidelines to submit your story or to enter the Delvi Exchange competition. Please note the aim of the story is to share experiences with other miners, not to persuade investors. What are the options? Delvi Exchange practice story. Do you have a story about your work in ASM? Share your knowledge or experience about a particular topic or a practice. How does it work? Why is it good? How does it help? What helps it to work in your context, e.g. support from local government, low costs? Give an example of how this has changed the life or work of miners and mining communities. Regular prizes for the best practice story experience. Sorry, my slide is not coming down. My network is not good today, and it's playing. Okay. Do you have a story about something you have learned from Delvi Exchange? Where did you learn about this activity or practice? Describe the activity or practice. Why were you interested? Have you applied this activity? How did you apply it? What do you want others to know about what you've learned? What helps it to work in your context? E.g., support from local government, low cost. Give an example of how this has changed the life or work of miners and mining communities. Regular prize for the best examples of learning. That's the Delvi Exchange stories. The Delvi Exchange Challenge competition. What is one problem or a challenge your mining community needs help with? Can you hear me? Is my network okay?
Loud and clear.
Okay, thank you. What is one problem or a challenge your mining community needs help with? Tell us in detail about a problem or a challenge your mining community is facing. What are the causes of the problem? How will it affect your community in the long term if it is not addressed? Regular prizes for the best explained problem. Contribution guidelines. How to share your story. Competition entry. Step number 1, recording your story. Choose how you will tell your story. On WhatsApp, there are 3 options. The first one is audio recording. Practice using the record button in WhatsApp. Your recording should be not more than 5 minutes. Video recording. Please film holding your phone horizontally. Practice using the record button in WhatsApp. Your recording should be not more than 5 minutes. Writing. You can type directly into WhatsApp. For example, you can see the screen, a story that has been typed up and sent. Or attach. If you have access to a document, e.g. Microsoft Word or PDF, write up 2-page and attach it to WhatsApp. Step number 2, upload your story to your WhatsApp group. You must include the following. Ask your coordinator to help. First is give your story a title and say if it is a practice story, an exchange story, or a competition challenge entry. Provide a photo of the story. Give your name, gender, country, network, your association, and what you mine or quarry. Tips for using your phone to film when recording. Film horizontally. Keep the video to less than 5 minutes. Speak directly to the camera so that your face can be seen in full. Place the phone on a stable surface or a tripod, or get another person to film you. Mid-morning and afternoon is the best time to film because the light is clear but not too strong. Make sure you're facing the light so that your face is not obscured by shadows. Protect your phone from the wind to get the best sound. Please note, by posting an entry online for the competition, you agree to allow the story and any associated image images or videos to be published across the Delvi Exchange platform and by the Delvi Exchange project in public communication materials. We respect the intellectual property of others. Members of the Delvi Exchange WhatsApp group should not share content that violates the intellectual property of others. That is our story competition coming up. Okay, let me remove the screen. Stop sharing.
Just if I could say, I see one of the message coming in is that Blessing's speaking a bit fast, but I think what we will do is we will put all these guidelines. We are launching this communication challenge on the 1st of September. All the guidelines that we've just showed you will be in the WhatsApp group and will be available to help you. There's just one thing that I've added just today on the advice of someone. If you are doing a film, can you see Patrick's picture there? You know, he's in the mining situation. If you are going to do a film about mining, if it is possible, try to get close to the mine site or try to hold something that represents your mine situation. Because if you just do it sitting in the kitchen, it could be anywhere in the world. And and it makes so much difference to be filmed in the place where the mining's happening. So that's something we're really looking forward. So watch this space. The Delvi Exchange is a platform for you to tell your story. And these practice stories and learning exchange and competition is just simply a way for you to make sure that the untold stories of so many people get a chance to be told on the global forum. That's the purpose. And I'll be quiet. Over to you, Blessing.
All right, sorry, my network again. All right, I can hear you, Linda. I'm going to post the guidelines in the platform, in the WhatsApp platform. So sorry if I was speaking a bit faster. All right, so maybe let's go back to, sorry, I had to rush to put my presentation because my network was playing up, but now we can go back to.
Blessing, Janet,
yes,
Janet has her hand up.
Yeah. Yes, Diana.
Janet.
Janet.
Yeah, I thought it was question and answering time since you have finished your presentation.
Oh, yes, that's where I was going. You can go ahead, Janet.
I want to thank the two presenters, and I want to thank Delv Platform, commend Awima, for being part of what is happening. However, if you critically appraise the two presentations, my sister from Tanzania, Women in Mining Tanzania, and my brother Patrick, you will find something common. I have said it before in our meeting, you understand, while Paul and Soma was alive, the last meeting we held, that I think there's a need for separation of treating women issue in mining completely separately. Address the gender issues, the gender perspective, and take them completely out of what you call ASM. Because ASM itself, the terminology is very, very misleading. Artisanal small-scale mining, yes. At what point in time do you end up not being an artisanal scale miner? But if you create the gender issue, you can look at it from various perspectives, because your purpose is not mainly that women are mining alone. You are looking at the impacts of mining, because mining accelerates poverty more than any other thing. So you want to look at it holistically from that angle, rather than continue to focus on them strictly as ASM. So I believe that down that classification, there ought to be one. because most times, even the men with all the energy, with all the equipment, hardly graduate beyond the ASM level. You could hear the Patrick story. And right now, I can assure you that in the next few years, Nigeria is going to enter another very serious problem. And that problem is the government is trying to create market, they are going, what they call the NEME project. And so by the time they have highly mineralized area, they will throw it into the market for bidding. How many of the local miners, indigenous miners, will have the millions of dollars to be able to buy the documents, not to talk of bidding? So you, rather than mining to bring in wealth, to me, keeps on creating poverty. So there's the need for a platform as this to sit there and critically appraise what ASM or women are getting out of the whole system in each African country. And if we are true to ourselves, it's unfortunate that Professor Nelly and co, we agreed up to a point in time that there should be a separate platform to address gender issues in mining. Thank you.
Thank you, Janet. I was going to ask Noela a question. In Zimbabwe, there are places, like during this COVID time, it was very difficult for us to get mining licenses. And it was taking so much, it's been taking so much time. About you can wait for like the whole year waiting for your mining license. And this during this COVID era, we have really approached the government and the offices to speed up. So they're now introducing online application, which we think might help, because people, it has been taking 2 years, 3 years to get a mining license, and people have not been able to get mining licenses in the country. And secondly, there have been exploration orders which were being given to large mining companies. This is in places, in villages where there are people, where there are small-scale miners, where there are people who are mining in their homes, like areas where there's where there are gemstones. So because there's the big exploration order which is being given to a big mining companies, which means the villagers will be working as if they are stealing, because they don't have title. They don't have a mining title of their claims. So they'll mine in their homes and get gemstone in their homes, but they don't have mining title. So it will be difficult for them now to sell their produce in a transparent way, because they haven't been given mining licenses. This is one of the problems we are finding during this time of mining license, which now stops artisanal small-scale miners from growing. Because if you don't have a mining license, there is no way you can really flourish, because you're not able to sell your products transparently. You're not able to go on you're not able, because you don't have a license to be doing what you're doing. So I think it's very important for artisanal small-scale miners to acquire licenses and to have licenses for the work they are doing, for the quarry they'll be mining, their gemstones and any minerals they'll be mining, so that they can flourish and they can grow in business. That's my comment. I don't know, Noela, from what I said, in Tanzania, do you have any problem in artisanal small-scale miners or people in their villages having problems accessing licenses or getting mining rights of minerals that they'll be mining? Noela or Patrick? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. If I need to answer, I don't know if Noela is still online, but I can try to answer your question, right? Hello?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Go ahead, Patrick.
I don't think there's an institutional restriction against small-scale miners acquiring licenses. There is no institutional restriction. What has been the challenge is, first of all, information and knowledge, right? The small-scale miners in the rural community might not really be fully informed as per the necessity of acquiring licenses to cover the area they are operating. They believe that having an ancestral right to the land where the minerals are found usually enough, but it's not enough, because somebody can go to the government and apply for license covering that area. It simply means that all your effort has come to nullity if you don't secure licenses. So most cases is the financial implication of license acquisition and information that is usually the problem. But as said by my boss, Janet Adeyemi, Engineer Janet Adeyemi, she was very clear on this. Most cases, when you go to rural area where women are mostly involved in mining activity, they don't have access to the rights or the information or even the finance that will enable them to acquire those licenses. So there has to be a more deliberate, creative way to artificially, let me use the word artificially induce condition that will make it easier for women to come on the plate. And by the way, I've sent my presentation to the chat. So if you look at the chat, you see my presentation. Maybe if you can run it through, I can be able to explain it further. Thank you.
Very much, Patrick. I don't know if Noela, are you on? Janet, would you like to add a bit on that, on Patrick? Would you like to add a bit on access to mining, mining rights?
I think Patrick has said it all. And I think in this meeting, we are privileged to equally have one of the top government officials who is in charge of ascribing titles. That's Dr. Salah Olami, and a member of the Board of Trustees of Women in Mining in Nigeria Online. So you see, Patrick said it all, and I think it applies to all countries. If you look at the standard procedure of acquiring licenses, you find out that there's no way women will cope. When I talk of women coping now, I'm looking at it that is on an average level. Okay, that does not mean that you will not have 1, 2, or 3, or 5 women in some countries excel. But no government in any country is going to allocate a prolific area. In Nigeria currently now, government is spending billions to fly the satellites and the aeromagnetic survey to determine the kind of minerals, underground. And when they finish, government must look for a way of recovering the costs of that exercise, the contract they're giving out. So if they have to do that and recover the cost, that tells you that when they are giving out bids for people to acquire licenses, how many women will have access to be able to compete? So you find out that graduation from ASM to small-scale mining itself is a hurdle. Then to even be, and in Nigeria, no, the ASM is really not, because it is not really categorized as such. You understand? Because it starts the rudimentary, the bottom line. And so based on all my assessment of having worked in the sector and having advocated in the sector for years, I find that a transition is extremely difficult. Even when you look at this forum now, how many women are able to understand the usage of Zoom and be online? So many factors are mitigating against women in this sector. And yet you must address gender inclusion in the sector, because the population of men and women in the continent is almost a ratio of 1 to 1. So how do you address these things and ensure that mining takes women out of poverty in the continent? So these are things I think the knowledge platform, you understand, in addressing World Bank must look at. And that is why we said beyond the issue of classification, there's the need to make efforts to find a way of inducing or jumpstarting, whether through supporting cooperatives or doing one thing or the other, to make sure that there's a robust inclusion and recognition of women in the sector, because it will continue to be difficult. If you listen to stories of women across the continent, you find out that the stories are the same thing. Having a handful of gemstones and polished stones does not classify you as a miner. That's the truth. Does not classify you as a miner, as an operator in the sector. Having a few ounces of gold does not classify you as a miner. There you understand. So for me, I believe that we should look critically beyond this and think of a genuine way of making sure that women are fully mainstreamed and their issues addressed. Because in Nigeria, as we speak today, it's going to be more difficult. Yes, they could be there, even doing one thing or the other, but it is not enough for them to graduate into small-scale miner. Nobody is restricting you. Government will not restrict you, but the process itself will shut you out because government is not a la carte. So we must think of innovations, understand, of doing these things. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Grace from Zambia, do you want to share experiences in Zambia? Grace?
Hello?
Noela?
Can you hear me?
Grace? Yes, I can hear you, Grace.
Yeah. In Zambia, I think the previous speaker has said it all, because in Zambia, there is no restriction to get the license, be it exploration, artisanal, or mining. What it requires is for you to have all the documentation. You take them to the offices. We have cadasters here in Zambia as well. Then they'll look at your document and they'll issue the license. But the issue is the fees. You know, you have to pay the 920 kwacha. So how many women are able to raise the 920 kwacha? So these are the issues that I think even here in Zambia with the new government now, we need to discuss with them to relax the payment of these licenses. Then number two, I think as women, we have just to come together and be a voice of voiceless, because the ones who are getting licenses are the ones in towns. But in rural areas, it's very difficult for them to get licenses. So these are the issues I believe as women, we can come up with a strategy how we can assist these women in rural areas as well. In Zambia, we have a lot of minerals. God has blessed Zambia with a lot of minerals, but you find the ones who are in forefront right now, they are men. Why? Men have got the money and the capacity. And we have the feelings or thoughts of saying mining is for only men. So we need also to sensitize our women to come on board and be part of this mining structure. Because when a woman does something, it really shows. So I think for me and for all of us, we need to find a way how we can, promote and help the women who cannot or who are not able to get this license because of the finance challenges. I thought I can just add on that. Hello?
Thank you very much, Grace. Thank you very much, Grace.
Thank you.
There was a question. There's a lady who asked a question. I think she's not online anymore. Kundai posted a question in the chat. She said, thank you, Patrick, for the wildfires, which you mentioned.
She's
Are there
still
no
online,
environmental
Blessing.
impact assessment? Kundai.
I think Kundai has
Is Kundai
left.
online?
No, she has left.
Okay. Okay, there's a question Kundai wrote in the chat box.
She still looks like
Patrick,
she's here.
if you, she's here. Okay, she's left. Patrick,
muted.
if you can look.
She's still online, but she's muted.
Okay, all right. But she wrote the question down. If you look in the chat box, Patrick, she said, thank you, Patrick, for the wildfires, which you mentioned. Are there no environmental impact assessment by stakeholders to control these?
I saw that question and I asked her another question to re-ask the question because the viewed fires, I don't understand what that means. Hello?
All right, Kunda is offline now. Is there any, okay, I can see Lami. Lami, can you go ahead?
Okay, thank you very much. I'm Dr. Lami Salawu from Nigeria. My president is there, Madam Janet, who has been doing a lot to improve the life of women in mining. And from the presentation she had made, she has been up and doing in this transition program is talking about. So many areas have been determined by the women. But who takes it from them? They are men because of lack of assistance, financially and otherwise. But in recent time, from the program she had put in place, where he made it necessary for me to take over all those challenges that any of those women that are having problem with their areas should advance to the headquarters. Not that they should come in person, but they should have a means of communicating to us where I will take it up and then make it accessible for them. Financially, it has been the problem. But I want every one of us in this forum to realize one thing. When we've been talking about finance, and we are not seeing any headway through. Let's talk about off-takers. I'm sure when off-takers are on ground, the finance will by itself come up. Because waiting on people that don't want us to move ahead, we should not expect anything positive from that aspect. In the case of mineral title management in Nigeria, it has been robust enough for anybody to access, just like my counterpart in Tanzania have just said. The issue of money, nobody will bring out money to access any licenses for you. You have to coordinate yourself. And that is when the issue of cooperatives now come on board. At this forum, is it possible for us to think of each country to bring up a cooperative body in a particular mineral and then see how we raise them to that middle or a large miners stage, such that we will now use the method and the methodology as well as the way we made it to be, spread it all over now and start using it as a model. If you don't have anything national methods, we cannot have international. And because this varies from country to country, so we must learn from each country how we were able to get to the top through our own methodology, and then the other country brings it up. From there, we now be able to put everything together and say, this is the way forward for this sector to be taken to the next level. Thank you. Hello?
Lami,
Hello?
for the presentation. Thank you, Lami.
Yeah. Yes,
Blessing.
please. Pauline, I can see Pauline's hand has been up for a while. Thank you very much, Lami, for the contribution. Pauline, can I just allow Pauline to put her comment?
Yeah, thank you very much, Blessing. You know, I just want to concur with Janet has mentioned the issue of not having more women not to have licenses. You know, it is something that we've been talking about. We know that in Zambia and in many other countries, there are no restrictions. But then I think it is something that has to start with the policies. When we look at our policies in most countries, you know, ASM is just, it's a general thing. Men and women are all regarded as the ASM. But I think it is high time whereby even as we are formulating our mining policies, they should just be a standalone, you know, but an article, a section where we talk about the development of women in mining. Because why do I say that? Why do I say so? Because women, you know, they are more vulnerable. They've got more challenges than women. And I'm talking like this, being somebody who has been in the industry for more than 33 years. And then, you know, I understand the mining, what is all about. I think like the issue of licensing, what the most governments need to do is probably decentralize the licensing process. And I want to give the example of Zambia. Zambia, whether a woman is applying for a mining license, artisanal license, small scale mining license, or whether it's a gemstone trading permit, or whether it is a gold panning license, all these licenses, no, somebody has to travel all the way to Lusaka. So now, this makes it even more difficult for women because a woman has to think of leaving his family, you know, for a week or even 2 weeks, sometimes can even take a month. So I think it's high time that consider, you know, this it is something that we really have to lobby, and we have to do it, you know, and we have to do it quickly to save, you know, a lot of women who also want to legalize their mining activities so that they could contribute effectively to the economies of our countries. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Pauline. Thank you for your contribution. Janet, I can see your hand. Lami, is your hand still up? Or you want to, or can we, Janet? All right, Janet.
Nancy, Pauline, good afternoon, good morning. I recognize and hail you. I hail your strength for persisting and still being there. But when you look at such stories, and those are the stories we have to take away. That is why I decided to wake up very early because I'm far away from Africa. You understand, just to participate in this and and still learn my voice. Why don't we do a survey and be honest with ourselves? When we want to start a program, that program we want to start, there's a historical perspective to it. Why don't we look at the history? Pick the history, look at the number of women across Africa in different countries that has been in mining for ages. What have they been able to gather in terms of wealth along the line? That tells you that there's a major problem. And then the issue is that how do we solve this problem? This problem has to do with the issue of funding and classification and logistics. Will we say because we are women, we abandon our primary role of nurturing our family and children? Then that means we have gathered no wealth. When we lose our family, lose our children become vagabonds because we are into the mining sector. So that tells us that there's a need to inject an alternative, a way. And what is that way? That way is clear, is so easy. What has created the problem must be addressed. The problem is wrong classification. Women in mining's role do several things. And what are those several things? They are impacted because they live in that environment, apart from being operators in the sector. And so when you want to consider the issue of operators in the sector, they can never match their men, because in Nigeria as of today, how many women have properties of their own?
Yeah. You have started now. Are we not starting our own program now?
So hello? How many women? How many?
Are we not starting our program now? 11.
Please, Lami, please mute yourself. Or okay, please let her be muted. So how many women have access to these things? So the truth of it is that we have advocated, and you will see that most women will say, create a standalone group for women so that their issues can be addressed, because even the World Bank is not helping women. Donor organizations are not helping women. It is high time we stop talking and let this thing be addressed. Then a good suggestion came up. Can't we identify and do a kind of pilot group where we want to nurture and see that, okay, let us do it this way. A pilot, identify a cooperative in each country. Decide on what kind of cooperative you want to support in each country. Let's come up with criteria and look at it and nurture this group to see what it will amount to. Maybe a 5-year program. So if it works, then we now know that, oh, we can use this methodology to address, because if not, I've been on this topic now for years where we sit down and we are saying the same story over and over, and we are not seeing changes. No government will reduce or give access to its mineral titles free, because that is their main source of revenue in Africa. And I tell you that mining, agriculture, ICT, and crafts will be what will dominate the 4th industrial revolution. So government is not going to slow down. It is us who will just push for policy changes to say, let us do this, let us do this. But in terms of money, government is not likely to slow down. Thank you.
Thank you, Janet. I can see Grace. Grace, I can see your hand. Do you want to go ahead?
Please. Yeah, I think I concur with Janet. We need to have a pilot project. Let's have a as one. And I don't know how we can do it. We need, I think we can do it. Each country can have a representative and come up with a policy as women in mining. That way, I believe we have to pressurize also government when they say that we are speaking as one, with one voice. I think it's very important. And as Janet has said, she has been on this platform, I don't know for how many years, according to her, but nothing is happening. Nothing has come up. So I think now that we are talking more of women to have minds and also to see how best we can sustain ourselves as women. Let's form a cooperative, or let's start with a pilot project that can assist us. Even when we stand up and talk to the governments, I think they will hear our voices. Thank you.
Thank you, Grace. Can we share our Delvi Exchange story guideline with other artisanal small-scale miners and people in communities that we know have stories to tell, that we know have something we can share? Maybe some of the stories, if they're put, they can go a long way. So please, let's share the Delvi Exchange Stories guidelines that I'm going to put it on WhatsApp group, and let's share it with people in our communities, with artisanal small-scale miners who we feel have stories to tell, have stories to share, if something that other people can learn. Okay, I'm trying to see if there's another hand which is up. But very interesting points coming up. We've got very, Noela, is Noela still online? Noela is, Kundai, I can see you're back. Kundai? Okay, she can't hear me. I wanted her to explain her question. All right, Patrick, you've got your hand up. Yes, can you go ahead?
Right. I want to really concur with what Madam Janet Adeyemi has disposed, right? It's very frustrating when you are talking about the same thing time and time again without any traction. And I believe that a proof of concept system can be the best way to actually show this thing in action. Because one of the biggest problems we have in Africa is that we spend so much time talking and very little being achieved from the talk. And it makes people not to take us seriously. So what that needs to happen is to second what she has said. Let there be a proof of concept. Let there be a pilot project initiative that is followed through, because then that will be something that you can even use to show government, if there are roles for them to play, you say, look, this little we have done with this, given this set of circumstances, we can do so much more. But once you continue to talk and everything is being theoretized, people will just give you a lot of title, which is talking without action. But if you start something maybe in group, and then people will now see it working, at least they will see the strength of your efforts, and then more people will be inclined to join and help you out. Now, with regards to changing the law, law sometimes cannot be discriminatory, because once you put a law that is discriminatory, then what happens is that it can also be abused. But you have to have a system that gives positive, maybe a positive discrimination towards a group that is highly disadvantaged. In this case, like she pointed out, women doesn't have ownership right on land. And we know that in Africa, land is one of the primary things that engenders wealth. And most lands in Africa are what can be considered dormant assets. So there has to be a way to start unlocking most of these things. But as far as mining goes, it requires a lot of money. So there has to be a seamless flow of capital. The first thing to do, it would be to engage the financial institutions as a group and get them to really understand that it's not really okay for most of these resources to be coming from Africa, and then we have this biting poverty that is permeating our rural environment. It's no longer acceptable. And the only way to make that case is to be deliberate in approaching them, in showing clearly that the result that we're seeing from Tesla has its route in Africa, in rural Africa. And then if you go into those rural Africa, you see enormous poverty. And then you see the wealth that is being created from the resources that is taken out from there. So we need to be honest to ourselves, and we need to engage the financial institution robustly and get them to stop, saying one thing and doing the other. If money is not channeled properly, none of these assets will have any expression. But if we find a way to make funds available and then put a framework that will make sure that nobody steals the money, that what is the money are set out for are achieved, you'll be tremendously surprised on the type of the result that will come out from these engagements. That's all I want to chip in.
Patrick?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, my network I just lost network. Thank you for the contribution. I can see Kundai's hand is up. Kundai, the last time you asked Patrick a question, you wanted you to explain yourself on the question, and maybe you can, I can see your hand is up, Kundai.
Okay, thanks. Thank you, Blessing. I'm sorry, my network is acting up. It's up and down, but I'm here now. Okay. My question was directed to Patrick. Maybe, but I think when we were doing a presentation, I heard you saying that when we were mentioning the challenges, you mentioned the challenges of our wildfires. So that's what I was asking. If there are no stakeholders who are responsible for those wildfires, like the environmental assessments that are done by the environmental agencies, I don't know what you call them in your country, to curb or to reduce these wildfires within the mining communities. Oh, unless if I get you wrongly, but I thought that's how I get you from your presentation.
Sorry, Kundai. I'm trying to understand the wildfires. I didn't quite get that word. Maybe you didn't capture what I was saying, but I don't know what the wildfire is. But then if I can take it in general, there is a need for environmental impact assessment, but that need only come about if you have mining lease, right? If you have the biggest aspect of license, because in Nigerian situation, there are 4 classes or 5 classes of licenses, right? There is recognition permit, right? There are only permits you go and use, right? There is more, there is exploration license. Exploration license, as the name suggests, empowers you to go and search. And now there is small scale mining license. Small scale mining license are predominantly given to only Nigerians, only Nigerian companies or Nigerian run companies, right? And then there is mining lease. Of course, there is water permits use, right? There's quarry license, but quarry license and small scale are almost the same, right?
Mais c'est il faut que tu réclames ton dû normalement. Elle a dit qu'elle doit faire un mobile zéro, et qu'elle doit donner le mobile zéro.
Hello.
Can you please mute? Sorry. Can you mute? Patrick is speaking. Can you please kindly mute your Patrick? Can you go ahead? We couldn't.
All right. Thank you very much. So as said, the environmental impact assessment is only applicable to 2 classes of licenses: small scale mining license to a lower grade of it, and then mining leaseholders are expected to carry out environmental impact assessment. But there is something that Nigerian Mineral Mining Act of 2007 was very clear about, and that is CDA, Community Development Agreement, right? This CDA is a tripartite agreement between government, the company, and the rural community, right? It just opposes what that mining company, the benefit of the local community from the mining activity that is happening in their environment, right? So while you're applying for the license, it is expected that you should get community consent. There's a demand for consent letter from the community that's more or less welcoming you to come and do mining in their rural, in their homestead, right? That is more like them giving you permission for you to apply for those licenses, right? Once that license is given, it is expected of the company to liaise with government and the host community to come up with how the community will benefit from the mining activity. It's statutory. And if you don't do that, you won't be able to get your mining license. So that is how you control most of the anomalies in terms of relationship between the company and the community, so that everybody will know what is in there for them. We all do know that mining is highly negative in terms of its demand on land. And most lands are used primarily for farming activity. So if you come in there as a mining company and start devastating the environment, right? Anything that is taken out is taken out. What they will be left with will be for you to redirect resources to new lifestyle, which in most cases, if you have devastated the land, and if they've not gotten any benefit from the activity, then they are holding the shortest end of the stick. So it is required that you, in course of your business, has a way to funnel back to the community some revenues or some infrastructure or some resource replacement, so that they themselves will benefit from the resources that God has endowed them with. So in conclusion, I would say that most of the relationship between the host community and the mining company are captured in the CDA, Community Development Agreement, right? And then it is required when you are going into large-scale mining operation to have a robust environmental impact assessment, which in clear terms states how the company is going to be configured, how the company is going to operate, and what will be the environmental, making sure that the environment doesn't suffer too much from the footprint of the mining company. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the interesting explanation, Patrick. Thank you. Kundai.
Yes, Blessing.
Okay, you wanted to say something?
Okay, I wanted to thank Patrick. He did explain well how they do the environmental assessment. That's how the question was anyway. He did respond. That's what I was asking about. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm just checking if there's a hand. Thank you so much for joining in, and thank you, Patrick, for the presentation. Learned quite a lot on the different. I actually wanted to ask Patrick the licenses, the ASM license. So this means artisanal small-scale miners can apply on their own, and mining leases are given to anybody, even any person coming from other countries. But you said small-scale mining license are given to only Nigerians. Did I get you right, Patrick?
You got me 100% correct. Small-scale mining licenses are exclusively reserved for Nigerians, right? Or companies that are registered in Nigeria, because they will need to see your company registration certificate to prove that actually that company is an indigenous company, right? Because once you register a company in Nigeria, it is considered as an indigenous company. But anybody can apply for mining lease, right? Anybody from any country, and you can have 100% ownership. That's why Nigeria is one of the most, can I say, very open in allowing foreign investment to come in. But for the purpose of what we want to achieve, right? Our company, our biggest challenge has been on the issue of finance. So anything that can be done to make it easier for the company to access funds, right? And market making also, like Madam Salah pointed out, if we cannot make money available, let's be deliberate in creating off-take relationship. Because buyers, if you have a buyers that are properly structured, that is actually you having access to finance. But when you don't have a structured buying off-take arrangement and you don't have access to funds, you are condemning that operation to really not being operational. I think somebody needs to
Dear Homage, can you kindly mute?
What is the nice sound there? So which side? So which side?
I think if maybe you can mute everybody from your side.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying.
Okay.
All right, I've managed to do that.
Right. So as I was pointing out, right, with regards to ownership structure in Nigeria, it is actually very, very, very clear. And I believe Madam Salah wants to make a presentation because she's our Amazon from the ministry. So she can speak more authoritatively on that aspect. But there is no restriction against foreign ownership as far as mining license goes, which is the favored classes of license that gives you all the protections to operate your business in a very structured business mindset. But for small scale miners, you wouldn't have the necessary finance that is required to do full scale environmental impact assessment. Though it's very, very important that is done because you need to know how the footprint impacts on the environment. Thank you.
Thank you, Patrick. Oh, now we're running out of time. Our time is almost up. And Madam Salah, I would really love to know more about the cadastral system. I've realized, I think, cadastral system makes a big change.
Hello? Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you. I think the moderator is having challenges with their network.
Okay.
Hello everyone. Yeah, I'm just talking to Blessing. I'm talking to Blessing on WhatsApp. She's just lost her network. I think we have come to the close and we've had a very rich and full discussion. Yes. If you look, and there's many things that we need to follow, and I'm 100% behind everyone. Now listen, I've made 2 copies of Patrick's presentation in a PDF format, which should be easy for you to download. We'll also try to put it into your WhatsApp group. So we'll be able to share that with you. And if you don't belong to Blessings, to the WhatsApp group for the Delve Exchange West and English speaking, please join, because there's going to be many opportunities to create a platform for the voice of those who don't have a voice, and that's our responsibility. So with no further ado, I would just like to say good night to, sorry, it's good night in Australia. Thank you very much for joining us, and I look forward to seeing you in Blessings' next forum, which will be in early or maybe late September, early October. Thank you very much, and we say good night and thank you to Blessing in absentia. Okay, goodbye now.
Thank you, Linda.
Bye-bye. Oh, Blessing.
Bye.